What is up, cinephiles? Welcome back to Screen Kings. For today's video, we'll be doing a non-spoiler review of the female-led action thriller film called Gunpowder Milkshake, directed by Navot Papushado, now streaming on Netflix US. So if you're outside US, you might have to use a VPN, just like what I did. And this movie stars Gillan as Sam, a young hit woman who's on a run from mob gangs, and she must team up with her estranged mother, who's also a former assassin played by Lena, along with her librarian sidekick friends played by Carla, Gugino, Yeoh, and Bassett, in order to save an 8-year-old girl, or should I say an 8 3/4-year-old girl named Emily, played by Coleman. Now, before I continue with this review, I invite you guys to please support the channel by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't yet, for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows, and give this video a like because it really helps the channel. Now, I'm happy to be joined by my cinephile friend once again, Carla. Hello!
Hi, Kevin. Hi, everybody.
It's been a while.
Yeah, happy to be back.
Okay, so what are your thoughts about this movie? Because the trailer really looks slick.
For sure. I thought this was a very good-looking movie. It has some neon aesthetics and vibrant colors all around, and I enjoyed it a lot. I would say that it would be an awesome choice if you want to watch something this weekend. So yeah, Gunpowder Milkshake. Very interesting title. Within 10 minutes of the film, you would get a sense of why it was given that title, because they make it obvious. I was reminded of quite a lot of films. Hotel Artemis, Birds of Prey, and a light version of John Wick. You know, I can't help but compare it to that because it borrows a lot of influence when it comes to the story and how the characters interact and what their motives are. So yeah, I think any other movie with a revenge plot and over-the-top, cool, stylish assassin would be compared to John Wick, I guess. I would say it's a badass of a film. It's an understatement though, because I thought the fight scenes here were, you know, chef's kiss. And the color grading of this film added so much to why I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's flashy, it's colorful, and I love the fact that it's hilarious at the same time. It had some dark comedy there. Also, don't be fooled because it's violent and unforgiving at times. Brace yourself for that. May I just say the cast. They all delivered. This 3 generations of women doing their thing and claiming back their power with guns, hammers, chains, and of course, a glass of milkshake to go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The first movie that will come into your mind is John Wick, just because that movie has been, I think it's safe to say that it's now a seminal classic. Whenever you have a protagonist who's assassin, the setting is criminal organization, neo-noir film, John Wick, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. So I was also reminded of the movies Black Widow and the Birds of Prey, in the sense that they're all feminist-driven action thriller movies. In Birds of Prey, they're also looking after this girl. Black Widow, we also have women forging through their problems and choosing this path of violence. Now, I also like, you know, the same cast. Whenever Yeoh is casted in a movie, I get excited because she's just spectacular in
I love her
doing her action stunts. And we have here Bassett, who I didn't know does action. Then also Lena. So to see these women banded together, we don't really have that films focusing on middle-aged women kicking ass. So it was exciting, and Gillan here did a great job. This is a pretty good extension of her career as an action star. She has this tough exterior. She's a tough nut to crack, which is common for assassins, and the movie has this tandem of a girl named Emily to soften her, to humanize her. So she was placed in this makeshift mother role. That might be a trope, but this is mostly a story of mothers and daughter reconciling with each other. It's a bit lacking when it comes to character insight, but overall, I did enjoy this as a slick action thriller. I wasn't bored.
Awesome. You know what? I fully agree to what you said. While it is lacking on the character insight and development, I honestly could not find any motive here with any of the characters, which I thought was a shame because a movie that long should have that character development. But sadly, I thought that the mother-daughter dynamic was severely set aside in sacrifice of the many action scenes that they had. But I had the feeling that they had a great time conceptualizing and filming this because the movie has its own world. For example, guns are not allowed in the diner that Sam was eating in, and every person who arrives there must discard their weapons. And it's really interesting because, you know, the library with the books and the aunties and the librarians, where else would we see that, right? Only in a fictional cinematic world of hit women and assassins. I also wish there was more screen time for the three aunties. As much as I would love to see them just fighting, killing all the henchmen, I would love some depth and some backstories from them. I appreciate the style for sure, but there was a point halfway through the film where I thought that there was so much of the style and it sacrificed for the substance. You might have felt the same there, but you know, this is a movie that is mindless fun and you don't really need to overanalyze it or really immerse yourself fully to enjoy it because it's just an entertaining film. So yeah.
Yeah, I try my best not to overanalyze when it comes to these things, but when you are presented with this A-list cast, it feels like a bit of a missed opportunity that you're not banking on the camaraderie between them. I think that will really go a long mile in making this more likable. Maybe a rework of their dialogues just to add more wit in their banters and just to get a history of what is their relationship before they disbanded and you know what are their reasons for getting into this line of work. I personally think that the movie kind of hinted that there might be some sort of a romantic connection between Angela Bassett's character and Lena Headey's character, to which the film disappointingly did not choose to tackle. And in terms of that heightened reality, I agree. I like that this movie has its own world, very much like what John Wick did. And you mentioned the diner here, which is some sort of a neutral ground. They also have here in John Wick what we call the Continental, and you mentioning style over substance. Something that I've noticed is as the movie went on, it becomes more of an homage. Apart from John Wick, it's also obvious that it has inspiration from Tarantino films with that absurd scenarios in fighting and sometimes the use of weird props becoming weapons. I think the most memorable here is the use of a panda trolley bag. And I very much enjoyed the scenes, especially with Karen Gillan beating up guys. And there's three particular goons here that are really fun to watch. But something that I noticed is the way these things landed is just there is a clear gender gap, that all of the protagonists are women and all the villains are men. So the movie loses its subtlety at that point. I am all for feminism and female empowerment, but when you come to think of it, it becomes a bit of a lip service and a bit simplified take, which other films like again Birds of Prey and Black Widow could have done better. And something I've noticed is when I look at the crew behind this, they're all men, writers and directors. So probably that might be the reason. I don't want to be too judgmental, but in my head, you can easily swap these female characters into men, and the story would be essentially the same.
Yes, I know for a fact that a sequel is already in the works for this. Do you know that?
Oh, no, really? Okay.
Yes. So yeah, we would see a lot more of these women. Honestly, it could be a franchise of its own. For me, the script was a little bit of a letdown. I could not believe a few scenes there when Emily was being taught by Sam how to drive.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to expect that an 8-year-old will just learn how to drive? Like, honestly, she must be a very strong, capable kid for her to drive like that. You have to have some suspension of disbelief there. With all that being said, you know, I still enjoyed it. I hope everyone does too because, you know, it's a good popcorn flick.
I agree. You need to have a higher suspension of disbelief for this one, particularly on that scene you pointed out, especially on the character of Emily here, because I hate it when kids are portrayed in a way that they are portrayed as adults. While I do love the young actress here, and I think out of all the cast, she benefits the most out of this film because I haven't seen her. She holds her own in the presence of veteran actors. I'm a bit iffy when it comes to her character because she's not overwhelmed with everything that's happened to her. She acts like an adult. There's a slight understanding for her part of how this criminal organization works. So I was a bit off put by that. At the moment, I was really enjoying this movie. There was a sense that I'm not exactly sure why these things are happening. I mean, I know why these things are happening, but when you get to ask yourself, like, why does this character does that? A lot of questions that won't really stand strong against scrutiny. So there's an impression for me that some of the action sequences are becoming hollow because I wasn't really getting much context behind why does these things really need to happen apart from showcasing gore and bloody fun. All of these complaints are actually happening in hindsight, and the more I think about this film, the more I realize how weak the script is. I'm going to grade this for now a 2.5 out of 5. I was dabbling between 2.5 or 3, but Lucy Liu, Angela Bassett, and Carla Gugino were just severely underutilized in this movie. Even Lena Headey. I do like their persona, that they have this librarian, maternal vibe, but they can also get down dirty. Each one of them have their own badass moments. Karen Gillan here gets the most. She really delivers, especially the production design. It really enlivens the movie.
There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad here. The movie started off great, it kind of fizzled in the middle, and it almost picked up by the end. By the end, I thought, okay, where's this story going? I need a sequel. So that's probably a good thing. I am looking forward for the movie to be better, the script to be better. The choice of cast is one of its strengths. I love all these actresses. And also, I think we almost forgot to point out that Paul Giamatti was here. It's like a paycheck kind of role. I always love seeing him in films. It's kind of like you blink, you miss it kind of role for him. And yeah, I say it has a solid soundtrack and the fight scenes were creative. And I especially enjoyed the last fight scene with the song playing on the background. It's a special one. So yeah, I think not everything works in this film, but it can still carry itself. Overall, not a bad experience. I'm gonna rate it a little bit higher than you. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
That's it, guys, for our review of Gunpowder Milkshake. How about you? Have you seen this movie? Let us know what you think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, give this video a like and subscribe to us for weekly content. Carla, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you so much. Happy to be back.
Yes. So, thank you guys for watching. And till then, we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.